For the record, Darryl Perry, CEO of Lobby LLC. And I just noticed as Representative Dyer was introducing this bill that this only covers one of the two references to voters signing multiple nomination papers. There was the question about primary petitions, and those do exist if instead of paying a $2 filing fee to run for state rep, any one of you wish to go collect 5 petitions of registered Republicans or Democrats, you could do that. And of course, if it's for the primary, they must be registered voters of that party. If instead of seeking nomination through a political organization, someone wanted to run as, say, an independent candidate or Green Party or Constitution, they would need to go collect a much larger number. For state rep, it's 150 of registered voters within that district. It does not matter if they're registered Republican, Democrat, undeclared, Libertarian. But there is a prohibition on a voter signing more petitions than there are numbers of seats. So in that large Pelham-Hudson district that has 11 seats, a voter could sign up to 11 nomination papers for state rep. In Keene, where I live, if somebody's running for a ward seat, you could sign 1 for that ward. You could sign 2 for the flotilal, anything above and beyond. Technically, per statute, is invalid. However, there's an order from the Ballot Law Commission, and I only have 1 copy for the file because I also have a 50-page ruling from the federal court out of Pennsylvania invalidating a similar provision, and I did not feel like going through reams and reams of paper. So I will read very briefly from the Ballot Law Commission, and then I can answer some questions about how petitioners wind up working. So very briefly from the Ballot Law Commission, it says, there is neither a statutorily prescribed remedy if a voter does sign more than 1 petition, nor is there any mechanism to notify voters of the ramifications of doing so. It goes on to say that the nomination paper form itself does not actually inform voters that they're not allowed to sign multiple petitions. And I happen to have gone onto the Secretary of State's website, downloaded a copy of the nomination papers for 2018, and I note that it does not mention the prohibition on signing multiple petitions. So per the Ballot Law Commission, it seems as though the prohibition cannot actually be applied in New Hampshire. Now, as far as how petitions wind up getting signed, you can either rely on volunteers, and as I'm sure a lot of you know, volunteers aren't necessarily the most motivated. Or you can do what a lot of political parties wind up doing during the election year, and you can hire paid petitioners. And in most of the country, paid petitioners will go around with multiple petitions. Green Party, Libertarian Party, Constitution Party, and they have clipboards. Ask, are you registered to vote? Would you like to see more options on the ballot? Excellent. Sign these petitions. And then they wind up with 1 voter getting 3 signatures that they then get paid 3 times on that, because once for Libertarians, once for Green, once for Constitution Party. Because of this prohibition, that artificially inflates the value of a signature in New Hampshire for a paid petitioner, thus increasing the amount of money that winds up being spent on petitions being circulated. And I realize that's a little bit of the behind the curtain that is not directly related to the context of the bill, but it does sort of give some rationale for why this bill could be beneficial to minor party and independent candidates. And again, I think that this is definitely a good start, but I would also like to see that prohibition be applied to the independent candidate or the single candidates as well, not just those of an organization. And with that, I will answer any questions and pass up the 50 some odd pages of documentation in this manila folder that is marked with the bill number.
Next we have Deputy